Uh, yeah, so who am I and what I'm doing? So I'm the owner of the company who is, well, the company is Rozdoum. So what we are doing, so we are the partner of Atlassian. So if you know what Atlassian is, so this is the company behind the tools like Jira, Trello, Confluence, and so on. So we are so they have a network of partners. So we're one of the partners who operates in Ukraine and the United States. So we have like two offices, one in New Jersey, another one here in Kharkiv. Apparently, I believe on the two sides of that, and so and at this time, I happen to be here in Ukraine, so that's where it hit all of us.
Yeah,
and so that was quite a, let's put it, surprise on the February 24th.
Yes, yeah. And so how has it affected, well, first of all, yourself personally? Are you safe and your family safe and well? I mean, it's obviously, well, an incredible situation, an incredible tragedy, really, from a loss of lives and humanitarian aid. Yeah, how are you doing? I should ask you as a first point of call.
Well, I'm okay. So my family is outside of the city. So some of them are already in Europe. Some of them are closed in safer places in Ukraine. So I myself, once that was all settled, I returned here to Kharkiv and basically spending my time on like three main activities. Yeah, let's put it this way. So the first one is the global ones. So is that like the things that I can affect from my side on the global perspective for us to win this war. Such activities include, for instance, with all the big companies that we're working on, like Atlassian or Dell, or well, some big names. So we're influencing them so that they stop making business with Russia.
Yeah.
So that takes some of the time, but these are like the key initiatives, because the sooner they will feel the pain of that actually basically that the preach needs to win over the TV, for the people in Russia. As soon as they feel that I believe will save more lives than the sooner the better. Well, the second initiative that I am currently doing is the volunteer help. So we are currently supplying the body armors for the military units that are being composed right now, because there are new units that are being composed every day. So we do also supply like the vehicles for the army units that are the used vehicles of the old pickups bought in Europe, transferred to Ukraine, and then we deliver. And I participate in delivering them to the army units so that they have the vehicles for mobility, because that's quite important for army units to maintain their duties. That also,
just on that, sorry, very quickly.
Pardon?
Just sorry, very quickly, Andrey. I didn't quite catch what you said, that you're kind of helping the new units of the military. What are you delivering to them? What are you providing to them?
Well, I and people who I'm able to collect money from, but in most cases my own money, buy used cars in Europe and deliver them to the units, to the military units here.
Got you.
And that also that's like a big chunk of that. And so also there is some kind of the humanitarian aid, like the food delivery, food distribution, transportation of people who cannot be transported within the city. So that was the case for the first days of war. Now it's less and less, because it's becoming quieter here in Kharkiv. So the transportation starting to work somehow. No, not quieter.
Yeah.
Well, and the third thing that I'm doing is trying to keep the business running, because basically all the team that I have relocated to the to the western part of Ukraine, spread over a number of cities there. Some of the people relocated to Poland.
Yeah.
And so at the moment, all are in the safe places and continuing to work. And with us continuing to work, we keep bringing money to the country, which we then dedicate and send for the support of the military, for basically for the military funds, so that to fund the Ukrainian army at the war with Russia.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Andrey, am I mistaken there in saying I've just heard 2 or 3 explosions, it sounds like, in the background. Is that explosions, or is that, I mean,
Yeah.
well, my God, going back to my initial question, how are you, and well, for two questions really, how are you coping with that in such time? But B, why would you choose to go back to Kharkiv given the crisis? I guess it is your home, and perhaps where your kind of people are, where your friends and perhaps family are, but a lot of people are obviously moving out. So what was your rationale for staying?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain from the rationale perspective. It's more like the moral obligation. It's my country, it's my home, and it's my duty, and I can contribute the way I can.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that is kind of shelling, but that's too far. So that's why I'm a bit of relaxed.
Right, okay, that makes sense. And then, so obviously, I think I'm right in saying a lot of Ukrainian men from 16 to 60 have been conscripted into the military.
Right.
How has that affected your organization? Have you had people that have been in the army that have volunteered? I know that there's been some that have, certainly from an IT perspective, have volunteered into cyber defenses and kind of cybersecurity activities against Russia. So give me what you're doing on that, how your organization is shaping up.
Well, we're all under this obligation. So far they so far none of my team was set into the role of the military unit. So far that didn't affect me. So I know that yes, indeed, my people took part in those cyber attacks on the Russian controlled sites, and that was part of the activity which I, as a business owner, just authorized, so you can just spend some time on that. The more time on that, well, as much as you want to, but you know, it's kind of very interesting aspect that the self-organization and self-commitment from every person in the team is on such a high level that they keep the work running, so they keep the obligations and keep the promises and commitments from the business perspective, and at the same time dedicate their personal time for this volunteer activities on the cyber frontline of the country.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's incredibly commendable given what's going on. And I was going to ask you about your clients actually, because we spoke to the head of the IT Ukraine Association the other day, and he said much the same thing actually, that projects are ongoing. The work still is getting done, obviously in safer parts of Ukraine. So how I guess your clients are probably, hopefully, quite understanding, and second of all, hopefully they have kind of business continuity plans in the event of any disruption there. So how are you? Yeah, how much work's getting done? How much do you need to relocate?
Well, talking about the business continuity plans, so we, in a way, undergone that in the 2014 because the Kharkiv was on the front line since that time. So once hit that time, so we have established all the infrastructure be outside of Ukraine. So we transferred all the workstations to be perfectly mobile. So whenever the time came, so we just picked up the laptops and then relocated the people. And basically that's it. So all the other things can continue work regardless of where the people physically are located. So that, yes, indeed affected, but yes, indeed, in a way we were prepared for that. And well, fun part, but basically the COVID was a nice preparation for that, because we cut out of the office spaces at that point of time, and that was kind of another way to reassure that we are not dependent on any physical location of the office. So that's why this is good. Terms of the clients, so we basically, so we have 100% of our clients active. So none of them terminated the contracts. Even more, I would say. So there were some clients that, well, not clients, but opportunities where we were in the discussion phase. And when this happened, so the people came and said, well, we do not have the work at the moment, but let you invoice us ahead of time. We transfer the money so we can use for your purposes. And then we come up with the things to be done within a month or two. So that was a very nice and pleasant surprise from them. And then, well, we have not yet utilized that, but we'll probably do in April when we will do that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So Andrey, I really appreciate your time today. My kind of final question to you was, our audience is essentially, very senior IT leaders in UK, Europe, but also kind of across US as well. What would you say to them? I think a lot of people, I can speak for myself in UK and Europe, feel like we want to help, but how? So what would you say? How can we help? Organisations like yourselves, your staff, and Ukraine as a whole. What would you say to that?
Well, I would say, now I will be speaking just from my mind. So these are just thinking out loud. Yeah, the first one is what you can do is put in some kind of pressure on geopolitics to keep the pressure on Russia, because whenever, so I do believe that in the news and in the media, this topic will get less and less attention over time, but the war will not stop. So, well, the more pressure you can put on your politicians will be the better, so that they can put the pressure on Russia. Yes, I will emphasize the role of the UK that is doing within this all this process, and very much appreciate that, because we did really get the armor from you, and that's what is currently working on the battle.
Yeah.
The other thing that you might be doing on the personal level is helping of the refugees that show up in your country. I'm not sure how many are there in the UK, but I know that there are quite many of them in Europe, and apart from that is part of my family. And the third thing is keeping business with Ukrainian companies, because the more money we can get, the more services we can provide, that will help our economy survive. Because with the war that is currently seems like being transferred to the long war, not a short war, it's going to be more and more a war of economics. And with Ukraine losing quite a chunk of the possibilities in this regard, because all the industrial things on the eastern side are lost or damaged. The IT and the service business is the thing that can work and is working. So the more money we can bring to Ukraine, the more sustainable Ukrainian economy will be, and the more chances we have to win this war. And we will need to win with war, just a matter of price.
Yeah, no, I think you're
and
right.
I'm talking that's the general level, and the shorter level. Yes, so we are as Atlassian Solution Partner in Europe can help you with that. And if you please drop us a note, and we will be able to assist you and help you with any Atlassian related professional services or licenses or whatever.
Yeah, perfect. And just very finally, Andrey, before I kind of drop and let you go for the rest of your day, just in terms of, it sounds like less of an issue at your organisation, but we obviously have seen efforts to reallocate Ukrainian staff, but also jobs as well, right? People that have had to perhaps move and are looking for new opportunities. Is that something else that organisations can help with? I know I'm part of a small group here in the UK where we're trying to get new opportunities for Ukrainian staff that have been affected by the crisis. Is that something you see as well? People can help with?
Well, you need to distinguish between the opportunities on the personal level for the people, for instance, to join the European companies, and the opportunities for the Ukraine and Ukrainian companies. And here I would ask for more help for the Ukrainian companies, so that the people can remain and pay their taxes for the Ukrainian economy to support the country. Because as soon as the person moves from the Ukrainian company to, say, UK company, the taxes is being transferred to the UK, not to Ukraine. And at this point of time, every pound, every cent, every hryvnia matters for the purposes of the economy to survive. So that's why I would say that let people work whenever they are physically located for Ukrainian companies. And that is possible because basically all the Ukrainian banking system working fine. So as soon as all the financial systems works, so no matter where the physical location of the person is, so as soon as he pays taxes to Ukraine and receives money through the Ukrainian company, that helps Ukraine.
Yeah, fantastic. Andrey, really appreciate your time today, and thanks for sharing your story. What I'll do, I've got your email obviously, so as soon as this article goes live, I'll send you a link, yeah, hopefully we can kind of just keep that message going really, and do what we can to support. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, and yeah, it'd be great to stay in contact. You know, and hopefully there's more we can help with on this.
Sure, yeah. So it was my pleasure. So the more you can spread the word about the situation in Ukraine, the better for us, and the sooner the victory will be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just a personal note, I think yeah, I think the whole world, certainly Western world, is inspired by what Ukraine is doing. Yeah, it's inspiring to see, and also this leadership. I think Zelensky generally is just inspiring so many people. I know he went in with maybe some people weren't sure, but from what I can see, I think he's a good example of leadership in action. But be interested to get your views actually. What you think?
I believe it's kind of, well, talking about personal, yeah. So I believe it's the similar theme which Britain has hit during the World War II. So I was once, I'm not sure of the place, but there was a monument, not monument, but there was a monument in London at one square, I did not remember where, for the pilots of the Royal
RAF.
Yes, for the RAF. And there was very touching phrase there, so which I remember. So that was basically described that whenever you defend your country, you do your best and you do everything it takes up to your life to defend that. So, and that's kind of absolutely the same situation here. So it's our land, it's our home, and we have to defend it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Andrey, well, fantastic to meet you and chat to you, and say I'll send you a link when the article's online, and anything more we can do, please let us know. I'm sure there's things we can do to keep that message going, but in the meantime, yeah, take care of yourself.
Thank you. Yep, I will send you the recording for that.
Fantastic. All right, Andrey, take care. Cheers.
Bye. Glory to Ukraine.